I think we sometimes forget how many people work on the games that we play. We'll see the names scrolling by at the credits, but especially for AAA releases, there's just too many names to keep track of. Even notable smaller game studios have at least in the double figures of people working on them, and for good reason. It's not an easy task to make a full game. I'm not bringing this up in any way to diminish studio size released Eternights, which was mostly done by a single person. While it has its issues, Eternights is a good game. It's remarkable that the game is as good as it is. Eternights kept me entertained throughout the entire playthrough and is the foundation for what will hopefully be a long career in the games industry for its developer. Eternights is an action RPG dating sim developed and published by Studio Sai. The game is mainly developed by Jae-hyun Yu, who was inspired to create the game from his love of RPGs, specifically Persona 5. While most of the work on the game itself was done by him, he did get a boost from Sony in a PlayStation deal that helped the game get additional funding. As part of that deal, the game is a PlayStation, both PS4 and PS5 console exclusive, along with the PC release. The game was initially announced to be coming September 21st of 2023 before a surprise announcement late in August came bumping that release up to the 12th. The game will also be getting a physical release in November of this year. Upon release, Eternights was met with mixed critical reception, and I do mean mixed. We're not all talking 7s here, as I've seen as low as a 5 and as high as a 9, which is a lot larger a range than typically seen with games. What I've seen on the audience side of things, though, is much higher ratings, such as 88% positive Steam reviews. To me, this evidence tells me what I already suspected going into the game. Eternights is a game that won't appeal to everyone. Those it does appeal to, though, are going to have a good time playing the game. So let's talk more about what Eternights has to offer to help you figure out if this is a good game for you. In Eternights, you take control of your insert name here protagonist just as you are about to go on a date set up via a dating app. However, before that can happen, a series of barriers appears cutting off the city from the outside world and even between districts. People start mutating into monsters that brutally attack any humans on sight, and even the disaster shelters that you gain shelter in eventually fall to the monster attacks. To top it all off, a mysterious woman comes along and chops your arm off, and if we've learned anything this year, arm chopping is not a love language. But there will be time for love languages later on. After the arm-chopping incident, you meet Lux, one of the two opposing beings of great power. The world's issues have been caused by Lux's counterpart, Umbra, stealing a stone that, if Umbra can activate, will put Lux to sleep and destroy the world to be remade as Umbra wishes. In order to stop that from happening, Lux enlists your help along with giving you a shiny new arm that can turn into a sword, along with other things. You, along with your friends / more than friends, will have to use your powers to break the barriers, steal back the stone from Umbra, and save the world. Along the way, though, you'll have the opportunity to develop bonds with the other characters, 4 of whom you can date. With this game, it was very important for the characters to work, for them to be written well so we would want to date them in the game in the first place, as well as care about saving them from the impending doom. Early on, I found this to be a real area of concern. There were flashes of amusing writing, genuine connection between characters, and hints of depth and growth, but it was inconsistent. I was very pleased, therefore, when things continued improving both on the character writing and the general story writing over the course of the game. This is one of those games that only gets better as the game goes on, so if you see the potential in the somewhat choppy opening part of the game, then you're in for a treat later on. The humor doesn't always work, but the characters have a lot of heart behind them. I found all of the characters had believable and relatable motivations and connections with each other in the world. Due to the shorter runtime for the game, around 10 hours per playthrough, I was worried about getting to develop the characters fully, but I think the game did an admirable job in giving every character a distinct voice through the main story, which was only enhanced by bonding events. Speaking of the bonding events, the game works in a calendar system with 1 action taken in the day and 1 action at night. In the day, you can choose between doing trainings with characters, hanging out with them to increase your bonds, improving social stats with your bud Johnny, or tackling the current dungeon. At night, your choices are down to just the trainings with characters, the training with Chani, or scavenging for specific items in the city. I'll go into details about how each of these activities work in their own sections, but I felt the game gave you enough time to do quite a bit, although there's no chance you're going to do everything in one playthrough. I do believe if I'd planned things out differently, I could have reached max bond level with every character, but that's just how it goes with social sims at times. Your constant reminder on the time you have left before Doom gives more than enough motivation to plan your days out accordingly. Although one of the things I really enjoyed about Eternights is that the dungeons are short enough that I can complete them in a single in-game day, allowing me plenty of time to engage in the dating sim elements without worry. When it comes time to go out into the city to explore and make your way through the levels, the process is straightforward. Fight the enemies in an area, complete some puzzles, rinse and repeat. The areas themselves are very bare, not much to do or interact with, and not much variety. Therefore, the puzzles in combat really needed to hold up to make this part of the gameplay interesting. For the puzzles, I think they were mostly well done and gave some good variety. For instance, in one level, you have to activate lights to correspond with a particular portrait to unlock your progress going forward, and it was naturally built into the environment, so you had to pay attention as you were walking around and trying to reach the next part of the area. I think that was a great way to implement it into the level. Where the levels didn't work so much though, were when they asked you to diverge from the typical gameplay. There is a somewhat stealth section in one level that the game's controls and mechanics didn't seem well designed to work with. It served a narrative purpose, but the gameplay detracted from that. As for combat, the term hack and slash comes to mind. You have a regular attack, a stronger and slower heavy attack, some magic skills inherited from your bonds, and a dodge. A successful dodge leading to a brief speed up where you can take out enemies quickly and without worry about reprisal. Hit enemies enough times consecutively and you can get a powerful final attack. A death blow attack unlocks later on, and it helps you build up certain meters. The most important meter being the elemental gauge, which when full can be used to break enemies' shields and do significant damage to them. Every enemy has an element, and as you gather companions, you can target those elements, such as using Yuna's fire element attacks against ice opponents. Doing so will set up a quick series of quick-time events to get maximum damage, which isn't the most satisfying combat experience, but will give some more flashy animations. Now, as many of you know, I'm a big fan of the East series of games, and at its best moments, Eternights has shades of that fast-flowing, action-packed combat. However, due to a control scheme that lacks responsiveness at times, it was hard for me to fully embrace the combat as I could the East games. I had a fun time, but there was also a feeling of missed potential because I truly think this system would be a blast to play if the system was smoother. In between these forays into the city and main story events, pretty much all your time will be spent at your main base, where you choose what to do next. The Chani events I alluded to earlier improve one of the 4 social stats: expression, confidence, acceptance, and courage. You will need these for the later bonding events. Your training with other characters takes the form of minigames with companions and strengthens your bonds, along with giving you white essence, which helps you upgrade companion abilities. Black essence, gathered from missions and defeating enemies, upgrades your more personal abilities. These minigames are pretty basic, but if you're really trying to get your stats up, just train with Chani. No minigame and gets the most stat boost of anyone. It just doesn't help you date anyone, since Chani isn't an option for dating. Doesn't mean you shouldn't hang out with him though. As for the ones that you can date, you get short event scenes with them when you choose to hang out and bond. You have various dialogue options that upgrade both your social stats and on occasion your bond with the character. I'd say these scenes are the highlight of the game. This is where we get a lot of the background and motivations driving these characters. Putting the charming characters front and center will always be a win, but they do more than just that. 2 unique points from these bonding events that I really love seeing was first that it's not always just you and Yuna or you and Johan. Other characters will come around and be involved in the proceedings. It's not much, but just the acknowledgement that other people exist adds a lot to the dynamics of the cast and life that you're living at the moment. Secondly, several of the bonding events take the form of going out into the city to find a particular location. In those instances, you're limited to just that companion for gameplay seeking around areas, and then get rewarded with a scene in a new location once you've completed the combat encounters. This is another way to spice up the gameplay and these scenes. You also do get a choice on who you date, or how many of the characters you date. which is always nice because choices. The last very basic part of gameplay is the scavenging, where a character requests a particular item and you have to go to an area to find said item. If you do, great! You get more white essence and maybe a relationship boost as well as a stat boost. If you don't, then better luck next time. No combat, just locate the item in this warehouse or convenience store. Just another piece of gameplay to show off character personality and give you some rewards for completing. It did annoy me though when the player character would be so obtuse in the initial dialogue sections. I know what Yuna is asking for, just let me say, oh, you need pads, let's go get them! As I said before, the environments are rather bare, and I believe a big reason for this is that most of the art focus went to the characters and these rare but special full screen out of engine scenes found mainly in the bonding events. Those scenes are incredible, and there's a reason they made sure to show them off in the trailers. Likewise, I think the character designs are a good part of the game. Gotta have those appealing designs to draw us in. Most of them are designs you've seen before, but there's a reason they work. The animation is alright. I'd say they do a decent job in action, maybe a little bit stiff, and then the facial expressions and reaction are a little off as well. The emotive qualities of the character models tend to be exaggerated, which put me off at times. The music is what I would classify as perfectly fine. Capable work that has some variety and works in the scenes they're placed in without overshadowing anything else. If there's one area of the game that I have no issues with, it is the voice acting and general performances of the cast. Anytime they voiced a scene, the emotion and my enjoyment of the scene was enhanced. I spoke earlier about the combat controls not being all that responsive. I did not play with a controller as recommended, opting instead for mouse and keyboard, so that may explain why I felt that way. The game does have an easy to understand UI. The UX is a bit more mixed. Sometimes puzzles were presented in ways that weren't clear, or the game expanded options without telling you. Some minor tweaks here and there would have made the whole experience smoother, which maybe they'll address in later patches. Eternights is not a game that's going to blow people away with this presentation. The best points are the out-of-engine cutscenes and the voice acting. Everything, though, is at least serviceable, which makes the game more than worth a pickup if you are interested. Eternights is a game that has lofty ambitions, and the fact that it even comes close to some of them is worthy of praise. The game lacks some of the polish that would take it a step further, but the charm and love the developer put into the game shines through. For those looking for a dating sim game with a decent action RPG combat system and charming characters, including being able to date a guy as a guy, then I'd say Eternights would be right up your alley. And I really do hope this is the setup for more games in the future, since there are some great ideas that could blossom with more experience and time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give the video a like to support the channel, comment below your thoughts on Eternights, and subscribe to keep up with all my videos. Have a great day, and happy gaming.